The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
2015 is almost here, and with it comes those New Year's resolutions to finally transform your body the way you want it. There's a reason over 88% of New Year's resolutions fail. Make this year different by equipping yourself with Oxy Powder, the next level in cleansing the body naturally. Using super oxygenation, Oxy Powder, available through InfoWarsLife.com, gently cleanses the body while you sleep with easy capsules. InfoWars Nightly News Director Rob Dew has been using Oxy Powder with incredible success.
Took it that first day, then I took it for 6 more days after that. 12 pounds melted off in about a week. I'd say a week, 7 days. And I've been able to keep it off too. My wife is like, wow, you look really good. And I'm like, I know, I guess it's this Oxy Powder.
2015 can be different. Diet and exercise are important, but a lot of us have already tried that. Oxy Powder flushes it out. Secure your Oxy Powder at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive InfoWars Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock in the last limited shipment of 2014. The most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Vitamin B12 deficiency is linked to scores of serious problems. And Secret 12 is a fusion of 2 organic proprietary forms of vitamin B12, bringing you a true nutraceutical quality vitamin B12. Secret 12. Secret 12 is an excellent Christmas gift and is tailor-made to boost your New Year's resolutions. Supplies of Secret 12 are very limited. Secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. InfoWarsLife.com. Check it out today. I have set out to bring you the most hardcore, cutting-edge supplements and nutraceuticals, bar none. And that's what you'll find at InfoWarsLife.com. We have rejected literally hundreds of products from the InfoWars Life line because they are not of the very highest quality, or because they're not 100% organic, or because they don't pass all of the strictest toxicology tests there are that we have listed at InfoWarsLife.com. Whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com and believed in us and tried the products. Folks, check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
Aligns himself with the truth, and it's time for you to choose a side. You're listening to Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight on this Friday, December 19th. We're going to go back to your calls. We have Dominic in California we're going to talk to about chemtrails. He said he wanted to talk about that. Before we do, I just wanted to go back to this Sony hacking situation and the absurdity, the FBI saying they now have enough information to conclude the North Korean government's responsible for these actions. And as I pointed out, as I read this statement, they didn't attribute it to any official by name. Nobody wanted to sign their name to that. They didn't want to be coming across as Jonathan Gruber. They did not want to appear handing that out or making that announcement. We have had Obama come out and say that, of course, and all the other guardians of peace from our country, most of them actual GOP members in the grand old party sense. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Mike McCall, all the people who support unqualified every military action, every war, every intrusion into our privacy, every attack on the Constitution that's being done in this country by our government. And there's an article that just went up by Kit Daniels, NSA capable of false flag Sony hack that's blamed on North Korea. This is a presentation that came out by Charlie Miller, who spent 5 years exploiting foreign computers for the NSA. He gave a presentation entitled Kim Jong-il and Me, How to Build a Cyber Army to Attack the U.S. in which he explained various hacking methods and how easy it was to blame the attack on another country. You get that? Kim Jong-il, that's the father of the current Kim Jong. And he's saying Kim Jong-il and me. In other words, I can attack the U.S. and make it look like it's coming from North Korea. I know how to do that. Of course he does. You can easily route your attacks through another country. He says maybe a computer from China is attacking you, but really that computer is some Russian dude who's logged into that computer. So you can't tell if it was Russian or Chinese. On the other side, it will make attribution really hard for your opponent because you'll be able to attack from 1,000 different places and from all over the world, and they're not going to know who you are. That's how you do it. They know that. They've known that for a very long time. When he wrote that, that was the previous leader of North Korea. Aaron Swartz pointed out a long time ago, and of course he was the guy that was the point man in shutting down these previous attacks on us, CISPA, that they're now trying to revive. Our Guardians of Peace are now trying to revive that. And he had pointed out that virtually all of these exploits that we're seeing, all of the hacking, is either the U.S. government itself directly, or they're funding these exploits from other people. In other words, our U.S. government is the biggest group of hackers on the planet. It has absolutely no credibility that this is a attack from North Korea. They're crying about, and that's Kim Jong-il. He was so ill he died, and now we have Kim Jong-un, the UN. there everybody is, and of course they had to cry, and I guess we all have to cry about what's happened to Sony. I guess we should all line up and start doing that to make Newt Gingrich and Graham and McCain all happy and tell them, that's okay, we'll give you absolute total control of the internet so nothing like this ever happens again. And as other security experts have pointed out, it's a huge leap from going into some computer in a business that's not very well protected and grabbing their emails. It's a huge leap from going to that to saying that you're going to have them attack the infrastructure. And I tell you what, if the infrastructure is attacked, it's probably going to be a false flag just like this. Should we be concerned? Does it have any credibility with you that the FBI said this, that it's now official from the FBI? I just read at the end of the last hour that statement from Julian Assange where he pointed out that Barrett Brown has been in jail for 2 years. They're trying to keep him in jail for another 8.5 years. Why? Because he tweeted a quote from Fox News where they were saying that the government ought to assassinate Julian Assange. See, that's the answer to everything, isn't it, for the neocons, for the GOP, for the Guardians of Peace. The answer to everything is to attack, is to assassinate, is to torture. That's the kind of government we have, the government that would twist that. It's very obvious at this point. It's not a mistake. They're just using that, saying that when he tweeted that dead men can't leak stuff, illegally shoot the SOB, they said, you're talking about the FBI. And that's what they're trying to keep him in jail for. They're saying that he was quoting Bob Becklin. We played the clip for you. Let's go back to your calls. Dominic in California, you called about chemtrails. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, David. Yeah, you know, I moved into a new house about 2 months ago, and I'm in a heavy agricultural zone here in California. And there's been a lot of these chemtrails over my area, and I started filming them about a month ago. And one day they came really low by the houses, like really low. And within a couple hours, they turned into a cloud, and there was these web things falling everywhere in the air. And I got it all on tape. I put the video up on kimchasers.com. These webs were like, I mean, they were up in the sky as high as the trail, and they looked like they were 100 feet long. And I mean, they're all over this video everywhere. And I had to go pick up my daughter from school shortly after that, and they were covering the fences and the trees at the school. And I mean, I saw them coming out of the trail. What do you think? Do you think that the aluminum that just maybe got jammed in the sprayer and it was spraying out, like pumping up, or like what could that be? Well,
I can't really speak to that. I don't know. I do know that, where can people see that video again?
Kimchasers.com.
Kimchasers.com. I do know we had a participant in the Paul Revere contest, and he had an interesting documentary as well as an app that he was doing. It was called Skyder Alert, I think was the name of it. And people can get that app and they can report whenever they see something like that in the sky, where they see chemtrails. Nothing as unusual as what you just talked about. But when they see a massive grid of persistent contrails in the sky, they can report that. And they've been able to correlate that with changes in temperature. So we know that they've talked about doing this, and they pretend that it's something that they haven't done. And yet, going back decades, going back to the Vietnam War, Alex Jones interviewed a man who was decorated by President Johnson because of his effect that he had on the weather during the Vietnam War. So we know that they've been working on this for many, many decades. We know that they have talked about using chemtrails to try to affect the temperature here on the planet, to change the reflectivity. So we know that they're doing it, and yet they pretend that it's something that we need to look into it, but we're not really doing it yet. At the last geoengineering conference that they had this year, I think it was this fall in Germany, they had a paper written by one guy that says, well, assuming that we were to do something like this, who gets to set the thermostat? And that's a really good question. Who gets to set the thermostat if they were to do something like that? I don't really know what they're doing. I don't know what you saw. I'd very much like to see that report that you got over there. Thanks for calling in. Let's go to Bob in Maine. Bob?
How you doing?
Doing good. What do you want to talk about?
I'm kind of on topic today. You guys talking about the police state, and I had a SWAT team at my house trying to kick my door in this past winter, and it was pretty terrifying. You know, and they had the wrong guy.
Yes, and that happens so many times. That's so infuriating about this. And as I said yesterday, we were talking about this MRAP program where they're putting all this heavy militarized equipment in. They're saying, well, we're only going to use it for emergency situations. That's what we were told about SWAT teams when they came out, and yet we're seeing them being used every day on a daily basis, and every day we're seeing people who are innocent being attacked. If they kick in the door, are you under a home invasion, or is this a SWAT team? And we've just had a report yesterday of somebody who had their home broken into, and the people yelled police, and it wasn't the police, it was the robbers. They knew that that's on everybody's mind, so they used that to attack the people to get the upper hand over them, to say that they were a SWAT team. But it's a very dangerous situation. If you try to defend yourself, the SWAT team will kill you.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then they showed up here in the middle of the night. They put my face on TV and said I was a criminal, and couldn't find out. They only wanted the guy for copper theft.
They wanted who? Somebody for copper theft?
The guy. They wanted the guy for copper theft, but they showed up here instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like they had a SWAT team in the middle of the night.
You know, there was a case a couple of years ago where the Department of Education showed up in the middle of the night, dragged a man and his children out on the front lawn, face down, probably what they just did to you. It was the Department of Education's SWAT team. And a year earlier, the Washington Post had looked at their RFPs, the request for proposal, their bid to get equipment, and they said, why is the Department of Education buying bulletproof vests and shotguns and all this other paramilitary equipment? Why does the Department of Education need that for? And then they found out. That's why we're so concerned when we see this equipment going to the police, when we see these requests for purchases for billions of rounds of ammunition. We know they're going to use that. We know that's not civilian ammunition. We know that's for civilians because Geneva Convention outlaws the kind of ammunition that Homeland Security was getting. And we know that it's not for target practice because that's the most expensive ammunition you can get. You're not going to use that for target practice. Even as profligate as our government is in terms of spending money, they're not going to waste that much money if they're going to buy that kind of quantity of ammunition. It was absolutely absurd, and it was absurd for the Department of Education to get that kind of equipment as well.
And, I mean, they called me a sovereign and everything else because I wouldn't give them my Social Security number through the window, and they wouldn't show me the warrant. And
they had the wrong house the entire time.
They had the wrong guy. Somebody with the same name as me. But, I mean, I've lived in this town for 35 years, and, I mean, everybody knows me, you know. If it was copper theft, why did they just come here? They know where I live, you know? Yes.
Well, you're lucky that you weren't killed, and the other thing that I read at the beginning of the show was that account of the German man who was an Arab, a Muslim, whatever. He had a Muslim name, And just like you said, they came to the wrong house because it was somebody else that they were looking for that had your name. That was why that guy was picked up by the CIA, rendered out of the country, tortured for a very long time, and then dumped alongside the road and threatened not to talk about it. He had the same name as the person that they were looking for. It was another case of mistaken identity. And I guess that's what we have to look forward to. That's the next level after we put up with these SWAT teams. The next thing they're going to do is actually start using the NDAA